Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we move our bees to their new home. Let's get going. So let's start by talking about where we get our bees. We get our bees from our local beekeepers, which they own a company called Central Beekeeper Supply here in Russellville, Arkansas. Shout out to Mr. Smith, Mr. Justin, we appreciate you folks. We get ours, they come what they call nucs. You get like 5 frames, it's just, I don't know, anywhere from 3 to 4 pounds worth of bees with a queen. We like doing it that way because you get the 5 frames, they're already kind of established. The queen, and hopefully we can see that when we put them in, but she should already have like a laying pattern on those 5 that go in there. Also, we have from our previous beehives, we have a couple frames that are already set with the wax that we've taken honey off. So that is also going to kind of give them a boost. But let's talk about why we prefer to do the nucs from a local source as opposed to ordering from the mail. Here in Arkansas, Zone 7B, we have a lot of bugs, insects. The weather is variable, we'll say, for lack of a better way to put it. So there's a lot of challenges for bees in our area. So when we get them locally, they already have established to that climate, right? To the heat, to the fluctuations. The bees have been in this area for years and years and years, so these are the progeny of bees that have been successful in this climate. The other thing is, and it's a big, like we mentioned, predators, right? There are ants, and I think everybody, no matter where you live, you pretty much have to deal with the hive beetles. But ants here are terrible, right? We also have things like wasps and all that other stuff that can get into your beehive. So whenever you have a swarm that you get that has already been able to overcome these and thrive in your area, that's the way we prefer to do it. And the third reason is kind of more simple, I guess, as opposed to a biological one. The third reason is just, it allows us to keep the money in the community, right? Like we know Mr. Smith, they own the company up there. Justin, him and his family, they're the ones we get the nucs from. We can go to those folks and ask them questions. I know right where they're coming from. We see those folks on a regular basis. So they're familiar with the bees that we have. And, there may not be a huge difference in them, but just those small differences can make a big deal when you're getting advice from a bee mentor. So anyway, that's the reason we decided to get the nucs from our local supply. There's nothing wrong with getting the mail-in ones. We just had more success with the ones that we get from our local people. The next thing I'd like to do is walk you through what we use when we do our initial setup, just the equipment that we have and that we walk through. So let's take a look at those. 3, 2, 1. So to start with, what we did was we just went through and I brought some topsoil in to sort of make a level area. In our yard, it's really hard to find a spot that's somewhat level. So I used topsoil to do that, and then I covered it with some wood chips so I can help control some of the weeds. When you keep the weeds down, it goes a long way in helping keep away some of the pests that could get in there. It also makes them easier to identify. If there's ants coming in, you can sort of see their trail through that, as opposed to if it was like a thick grass or something, it would be much harder to find out where the ants themselves were coming from. But so we just put these little cinder blocks down, leveled it out a little bit, made sure that our hive is going to face south. We have ours at just a bit of a southeastern, slight eastern draw on it. And the reason being is because of the trees behind us over here, it will help cut down on the wind hitting that entrance. We like to use, now this is just the base, you can get them, some of them have trays on the bottom, some of them are just flat with nothing. We prefer to use this mesh screen right here. It just allows airflow in the summertime. It gives the bees a little bit more control over the temperature, and in the wintertime, it's easier for them to regulate the moisture. This is what our local beekeeper recommends for our area. From talking to him and Justin and such, every setup is different. There's not really a right or wrong way. So whatever works for you, that's what we would recommend doing. And let's step over here and we'll look at, this is the this is the brood chamber. You can see it's a little bigger. I'll show you whenever we put the we're gonna put what they call a super. And the only difference is, right, okay, so this is the brooder. This is where the queen essentially is gonna be, and that's where she's gonna lay. They might keep some of their food, like the nectar, which will be like the dark cells you'll see, they won't be capped. Anyway, this is where there are, what we did was we kept some frames from when we pulled our honey, just so we could jumpstart our nucs. And you can see there, it's already got some comb in it, and it has honey in there as well. Just a trace. So we kept this, and we wanted just a bit, and all it does is give this new hive, it gives them kind of a jump start, and it lets them know that this is their home. The second and third pieces are pretty simplistic. This right here, you can see it has propolis on it still from the last one. I'm not too worried about that, but this will go on top of the box, and it will keep the queen in the bottom of your box, right? So that way, everything underneath this will be the queen's area. We like to keep one box of honey on top of this, and that will be the bee's honey. And then every super we add on top of that will be our honey. So right on top of the brooder, we put our excluder, and then on top of the excluder, we will put on the super, and then this is just the false lid. It goes on there. You do not have to use one of these. They're completely optional. We use them because I still consider myself a novice at beekeeping, and there's a chance that if you pull it out and you could flip the queen out, you could also end up losing quite a bit of your bees just from smashing them and that sort of stuff. So because I'm still a novice and I don't really know all the little ins and outs of beekeeping, we like to use the little false top. And then we have this guy here, and he'll just sit on top. He has this little reflective surface. It helps regulate the temperature of the hive. So let's go grab the super, and then we will start getting into our bees. So I just wanted to go over this real quick here. When you get these, you'll see this little opening right here where those little bees are coming out. They'll come closed for the trip home, right? So that whenever you're bringing them, none of the bees are lost in transit. When you get home, you just pop it out and put it up until you have a chance to put them in. Bees come out and start exploring a little bit. You can see there was one of them that had died in transit, and they'll carry all that stuff out and do their basic bee maintenance. So now we're gonna open this fella up, and can I see that? Oh, thank you, man. Leslie's helping today. So we're gonna just take this. I need to make sure my lid is down on there, my smoker. And we're just gonna throw some smoke there in the entrance. And then when we open up the lid here, we'll take a look inside and we'll smoke them real good as well. And this just calms your bees down. The same reason why bees kind of go after folks that are a little scared, pheromones and such, is the same reason whenever the smoke, it will block their communications, their pheromones in the air. It confuses them, so they kind of just go back to their natural reflex of taking care of their queen. So a few things here I want to go over. These are a lifesaver for us, these little hive tools. It's just a basic beekeeper tool, and what it does, it helps you break these out without hurting your bees. So I'm going to pass this over to Leslie for now, and then we will start to put these in. So just a few basic things real fast. I always wear this little bonnet, keeps the bees off my face. I get a little nervous if they get on my face and such, and I use gloves, especially whenever I'm doing an inspection or something. If I'm just opening the hive up from the front and it's a real docile, I won't wear any of this just to look in the top. But when we're doing something like this, moving them, that sort of thing, I always like just to be prepared. The last time we did this, I ended up getting stung several times, so I'm going to avoid that this time. So let's go ahead and we're just going to smoke these ladies one more time. A little down here on the entrance, just get everybody nice and calm. And you can see Leslie did a really good job on that. Look at that smoke coming out. Nice work, Leslie. All right, so we're gonna sit this back here a bit. And I like to work from the end here. We don't want to take a risk of smashing anything. So I'm just going to gently pull these guys apart. And the tops here that hold the racks on, those are called ears. So we're going to grab them by that, and we will put them in roughly the same order they were in whenever they were transported. You'll also note that the gap is in the middle, and that's because in a normal, or whenever the bees have their choice, right, they'll build from the middle out. So we want to put these in here. The bees will naturally lay all of their eggs and such here, and then these out-tied 2 frames they'll use for honey for immediate use. And we will just continue slowly work on our way through here. These frames have a lot more propolis holding them together. And again, we're just doing the same thing here, pulling them back. These are heavier, so you don't want to drop them. It won't really hurt anything. They won't kill the bees, but they'll get super agitated. And gently place this in the rack, like so. All right. And we'll just go through and smoke them down. We want as many of them to stay in there. So if you smoke them, they'll kind of stay in their little frames. Again, and we'll just keep the same process. We're gently pulling it back towards us, away from the frame, so that we're not pushing them together and maybe smashing a bee. You just want to take your time, get it done. Familiarize yourself with your, oh yeah, see, look at this. You can see how that queen has been laying for sure. So we know there's an active queen with that.
It's a healthy brood pattern.
Yes, it is. So that's really, but as I said before, you know, Mr. Lowe and those folks, they've been doing this a long time, and we've had a lot of success with their products. So again, just pulling these apart. Just wanting to make sure as I pull them that there's no, oh my word.
Look at this, guys.
Look at that there.
And I bet you the queen is somewhere either on the next frame.
Yeah,
But
you're probably right. She probably will be on one of those that haven't quite been capped. You can see those have been capped, so she is probably. And this is the final frame. And we'll just pull him back again. Same thing. Gently. Oh, I bet you she's on this one. Look at that somewhere. See, they're a little uncapped. You can see the you can see the little eggs in there. That's super fun. Huh. All right. And on this one, we want to be super gentle because, of course, they're live bees and we're putting them next to. The reason I don't worry so much is because these outer 2, they don't have any of the comb in there, so I don't have to worry about the bees going up. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to just put a little smoke here in the entrance on the top to get these bees settled in. And we'll use our hive tool to take off this little bit of propolis here on the top. What did I do? There's my hive tool. And we're going to just remove this right here. Just the reason being is, since we're going to put our excluder on top of this, we don't want to smash anything. So we're going to take that, and it probably had some brood in it, and that's unfortunate, but it is necessary from time to time. And we'll put, you can see it has like the little grate here. We want the side that you can see the meshing on, this right here, you want that on the bottom. So we're going to take it, flip it like so. And again, all this does is ensure that our queen stays in this bottom brood box. Alrighty, so what we want to do, see these guys, you can see there's quite a few left in there, and these folks, these bees over time are going to end up back in here. But what I like to do is I'm going to put our super here, we're going to put it on next, and then I'm going to drop all these worker bees right on top, right in here, right? So I'm going to smoke them real good in the box, make sure they don't get, you know, and then we'll take them. And those of you who get your bees through the mail, you'll be familiar with this little shake. Okay, like so, and you can see the bees now. Then we'll put our false top on very gently, just to make sure we don't, a little moisture got in there, but the bees can handle a little bit like that. They'll get it all out of that hive. Put this on the top, like so. And we just want to settle them in a little bit. So I'm gonna give it one last little.
So we are super excited to get our bees back. One thing that I enjoy in my afternoons is coming out and just sitting in front of the hive and listening to them. They have a lot to say, and it's very therapeutic to listen to the hum of the bees. And I can say, since our bees absconded from the last hive, I have truly missed that sound. I have missed the bees being in our gardens. Of course, we have native pollinators that come in, and so you still get that experience, but it's not the same if it's not your own bees that you're raising in your yard. So for me, this is glorious, honestly, just because now we get to experience having bees in our yard again and watching them collect the nectar from all of the plants and the flowers and helping our gardens grow and spreading that pollen and that joy that we experience from listening to them. And it's a humbling experience, because the crazy thing is with bees is that they all operate from chemicals and pheromones. And so if you truly sit down and watch them, they talk with their wings and their buzz, and it's just amazing to watch them. So we are super excited to get our bees back.
The final step is, in here we have taken a 1-to-1 ratio of sugar to water, put it in this little simple feeder. You can see the top of the jar has got little holes on it. Just put that on, flip it over, and we'll put this in like so. And we'll probably feed for 7 to 10 days. Now, at the end of that 10 days, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna check out the hive. Make sure that we're continuing on with the healthy laying pattern, that sort of stuff in our brood. And what we're looking for in the top box is, when this box gets 80% full, we have a whole nother super all ready to go that's just like this one, where it's still got the comb, traces of honey and things. So what we're looking to do this year, kickstart this beehive so that hopefully beginning of next year or so, we can split it and then, grow our bees from there. So as always, I would like to say thank you to you folks that have made it here till the end. I would also like to say, if you have not, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can hit the little bell icon. YouTube will let you know when we upload new content. If you enjoyed this bee video, consider giving it a like. Until next time, I hope that you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.